I'm going to slide the convo to the next speaker, which I thought was he was kind of less of a philosophy man, but just seemed like an old wise man, John Van Donk. And he was talking about this idea of like, no matter where you are in life, no matter your scenario, no matter how old you are, you're always searching for that more, always yearning for that next location, next scenario, hypothetical future. Like, it's like, I guess it's a lesson for me of like, I think of myself sometimes like, oh, it'd be so nice when I reach this and I reach that and I reach that. But it's like, it's nice to notice that like, even at 80, you're gonna still be searching for more. So it's like, I guess, a lesson of enjoy what you have in the moment, because it passes so quick and it's kind of all you do have. It's kind of just idea of like settling into the present. And I found that to be kind of a cool concept. Just a good reminder for me, at least. What do you guys think of the John Van Donk and that concept? Or
Tanner?
I agree. I think that's good. I like the idea that I think of sometimes when I think of people that I know and how they behave. That's like, if you're not happy where you are right now, you're likely not going to be happy wherever you're trying to go. Because you're just going to be searching for more, like he was saying. Or you're going to realize that everything that you were basing your happiness on, this potential future, isn't all that it cracked up to be. Because, I don't know, I like the idea. I think we talked about it a bit with Grimm. Just like a comment that's like, wherever you go, there you are. So it's like, you have to be able to be content and happy with yourself, ideally in whatever circumstance, regardless of what it is that you're constantly seeking.
Yeah, like this idea of like, oh, I'll be happy when I finally do this thing. Or once this vacation comes up, I'll finally be fulfilled. Like, is that kind of what you're getting at? Because that concept is, in a lot of sense, a fake concept. It doesn't really exist. What you find is that if you're not actually living a life that you enjoy day to day, you're not going to enjoy that 2-week vacation. All the hype is overblown.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're idealizing it and romanticizing it, and it's just going to be over and done, and then you're going to be back where you are now. And it's like, the day-to-day comment, I like that, because that's exactly right. It's like, you shouldn't be putting your happiness and everything that you are in the future. You should be living as best you can now in the way that you want, so that you can be happy. Yeah.
Okay, hold up. Gotta make the 4-hour work week plug, Harley. Tim Ferriss. So Harley got me on this book, Tanner. This Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week book. I'm only like 3 hours in, and I'd already put it in the, shelf next to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, which I would say is my personal most foundational finance, business, entrepreneurship book. Now, I haven't read a ton.
Lifestyle.
Yeah. I haven't read a ton, so I guess I don't have a great pool, but it's just really good regardless. And he talks about this concept of like, okay, so let's do some math here. So you're going to work 40-hour, 50-hour work weeks the rest of your life for 50 years, 40 years, to go into retirement, and then what, do nothing for 30 years? That wasn't a perfect explanation, but essentially he just rips apart the current way in which our society looks at work, life, vacation, etc., and essentially makes the case for what you just did, which is that if you aren't living how you want to day to day, there isn't some heaven in the future of, oh, suddenly when I do X or Y, I'm going to suddenly love my life. Or when I get to this point, it's suddenly going to be better. That's the wrong perspective. You got to think about, how can I now change things to get to the point where I'm happy to wake up in the morning? And it's not add a caveat here. It's not like it's not that simple. I mean, sometimes you have to work so you don't starve. You know, like it's not as simple as that, but it's an important point. And you know, from a Stoic perspective, it's critical. You know, you have to learn to appreciate the moment now, or you fail. And Tanner, I was curious. You want to bring up your lovely poster? I was hoping you could talk about this. This was like one of the highlights of the trip.
Yeah, that was a good one.
This is so good.
Yeah.
The Memento Mori.
Sorry,
probably.
one sec. Yeah.
Just
So
explain it.
I have a poster on my wall, framed, and it says Memento Mori at the top, which means remember you must die. And on the poster, there's like a bunch of little squares, and at the end of them, it says like 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way down to 80. And each one of those squares is 1 week. And like the thought is that you can do it however often as you want, but like you fill in each one of those squares for every week that you've lived. And then you just look. It's like looking at your life in one frame. You see like this blocked out chunk, and you see this unfilled chunk, and you think like, wow, that's how much I've already used up. Who knows when I'm going to die? It might not even be nearly to the end, but even if it was, it's not even that long. So it's a reminder that, man, I should get to work. I have stuff that I want to do. I can't be squandering my time, and because I am going to die. That's a reality. I'm not going to live forever, and I feel like it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling like you are, especially when you're young. And then it has at the bottom a quote by Seneca that I can paraphrase. It's something like, it's not that we have too little time to live our lives, but that we squander much of it. Like the greatest things in life can be achieved if we're using all of it well. And I agree. It's a great poster, and I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I guess my thoughts I've been going down the past few months is like kind of trying to inspire people to like create the life they want to live, create the life that like gets you so excited and so, you know, captivated. Like if you're living life wondering about the next chapter all the time, that means your current chapter probably isn't that awesome and amazing and interesting. And I'm kind of a, like, if your current chapter isn't that good, the probability that your next one isn't going to be very good either is high. So it's like, it's all in line with like your life is insanely short. Time is probably the most precious resource we have, and recognizing both of those things, it's probably it's been useful for me and probably will be useful for other people. Like this whole grass is greener, it's not true. The grass is greenest right now in the present in your own mind. Like if you're able to master just even like, I guess, bringing in atomic habits. Like if you're able to bring in small little habits each day that bring you fulfillment, meaning, etc., like you're already winning. You're making wins, and you're creating a day and a life. You're creating a day that you're waking up and enjoying, and then you're going to create a life that is worth enjoying. And so, yeah, it's all just small, continuous improvements to the path of, I guess, meaningful life. And I guess Peterson sometimes mentions this idea of like, when you're engaged in something that is meaningful, you will know it. Like your heart / soul / being is, it's like it's a timeless scenario. Like time is passing so quick. I have no angst about the future. I'm not worried about the past. I'm truly living in this moment, loving it. And that's something I would call a lot of people to go out and find. And yeah, it's probably a really hard thing to find, but I guess a final thing I'll say is you'll never know what you would enjoy or wouldn't enjoy until you try different things out. And so that's kind of my point here is like, go out and live out an adventure. Don't sit around and watch other people's on your screens, because you're going to be 80 before you know it. Tanner's poster will prove that to you. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of a long ramble by me, but yeah.
There's a couple small things I just wanted to add. I really liked what you said. Sorry, just like zooming in on the wording, like of like the grass is greener. I think it's like, yeah, like that phrase. Like maybe you should cultivate the grass that is here instead of just like abandoning it and trying to find it somewhere else. It reminds me of the quote that's we must tend to our garden, and it's by Candide. It's a book written by Voltaire, and it's like, I'll just very briefly talk about it, but it's like
Sure.
basically a bunch of horrible, atrocious things happen during the book to all these characters. They're philosophers. It's like Voltaire's making fun of philosophy, a type of philosophy, because Candide's like, oh, this is the best of all possible worlds, no matter what happens. And horrible, atrocious things occur. But at the end, it does this great job of a conclusion that's like, regardless of these outside occurrences and what I cannot control, we must work, we must tend to our garden to keep at bay the vice and the laziness and all these other things that do nothing but sow seeds for nihilism and like the types of lives that for sure don't equate to any meaning or any I guess enjoyment, I could say. And that it's like, regardless of what's occurred, let's say if it's like an idea of, if you like where you're at right now, if you're like happy to be alive or in some circumstance, the reason that you are where you are is because of everything that has happened in your past. Like, you wouldn't be here if not for this bad thing that happened and this bad thing that happened. So to say that you wish those things didn't happen is to deny yourself in the present, is to say that I wish that I was living a different life. So if you like truly love your fate and love yourself, then I think that's how you would believe. Sorry, that was like a really random rant. But I think going off of what Nate said a minute ago, talking about like the books, the 4-Hour Workweek, and it was reminding me that of the thought that this is like controversial, but like the Buddha said that suffering is in the mind. Like pain and pleasure are things that we all experience and we can't avoid, but suffering is put upon oneself by the mind. And I think also like bliss and like heaven is a place in your mind as well, that you can attain in some sense. And I think that ties into like being happy where you are, or putting yourself into the future, a desired outcome that might not come. You're not going to be happy there either, because if you're not happy in your mind now, it's likely not going to be the case then. Yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to add. I guess I should, last thing. A good idea that I would recommend is getting into meditation for this type of thing. I actually recently started reading a book called How to Meditate. It's by Pema Chodron, and it's really good about giving reasons and steps on how to do it. And the idea is putting yourself in the present moment and being aware and accepting of what is, and maybe learning to enjoy it as well. Sorry, there's just a lot of stuff that I was like wanted to plug.
Yeah, those are good.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you're not happy in your mind now, what makes you think that even if you reach those goals, you're going to be able to have that happy life? Like, you got to master that mind before you're going to be able to reach anything like that.